Make sure to check out the One Football app. It's your one-stop shop to all your latest football news, stats, lineups, team news, transfer rumours. Everything is covered on the One Football app. So make sure you click the link in the description below to download the One Football app.
Hey guys, welcome back to WD18, the Watford fans channel. I am back again for another preview. This time the Golden Boys head to Selhurst Park on Saturday afternoon, take on Crystal Palace in a 3 o'clock game. As always with these previews, before we get on to the actual main preview, let's have a little bit of a recap in regards to our last game, which was a 2-0 win in the FA Cup third round against National League side Woking. A game which weren't really very long in the memory, a simple 2-0 win. Goals from Will Hughes, Troy Deeney, seeing us comfortably through to the fourth round of the Cup. A side which included 10 changes for Watford, only Daryl Yanmat actually surviving from the weekend. Ultimately, it was a very professional performance. Should we have scored more goals against a side like Woking? We maybe should have done, but ultimately moved on to the fourth round where we drew either Newcastle or Blackburn, who of course the two sides have to replay. We will be facing them away from home, and that game will take place in the last weekend of January. So still not sure who we're going to play in the fourth round. Not the best of draws, I think, if we were to quickly touch on that. But one where Watford should be able to get the win. I would prefer Blackburn in the next round as opposed to Newcastle. But let's have a look ahead to this weekend's game. Let's start off with some Watford team news. 3 bits of team news for you. The first one, Sebastian Prodel is still out with injury. Javi says he's still not ready yet. Still has a bit of a knee problem. However, the 2 big bits of good news for Watford, Andre Gray and Christian Kabasele, who seem to have been out for actually quite a relatively long time. Well, it feels like they have. But they are both back fit. Kabasele has been passed fit after his clash with the post against Chelsea, and Andre Gray has recovered from a knee injury. However, Javi's not sure whether or not they're actually fit enough to start yet, and of course he did his press conference earlier on today. He says we'll see in a day or two whether or not they're fit. He's not going to rush them back though, and I think that's maybe quite sensible. But I would imagine, I think out of the 2 of them, I think if Kabasele's fully fit or close enough to fitness, I think he'll be given the green light to start. I think Andre Gray may well be good enough for a place on the bench. Another player, of course, who performed really well against Woking, Adalberto Peñaranda. Will he start the game? Will he maybe make a cameo off the bench? Lots of questions, of course, to be asked, and a bit of a selection dilemma really for Javi. It's actually quite a good one to have. We've got a very close to to a fully fit squad, really. And kind of moving on from there, let's have a little bit of a think about our predicted lineup for the game. I think the back 4, I still think picks itself. You know, Ben Foster in goal. Back 4, I go Kiko. I go Cathcart. Is Kabasele going to be fit? I'm going to do this team without Kabasele being fit, I think. And this is going to be a big one for me. Brace yourselves, I'm going to put Ben Wilmot at centre-back. I know that's going to raise a few eyebrows, but I just think he's a better option in there than someone like Adrian Mariappa, who I think has proven to be just pretty much all over the place, really, at times. And Miguel Britos, I thought he did very well against Woking, but Woking were a difficult kind of side. Palace will be, you know, playing in and around the edge of the box. There'll be a lot of pacey players in their side. Will Britos really be up for it? I'm not so sure. So I go Wilmot at centre-back. I know that's not his preferred position, and that's not the position that Javi kind of plays him in, and ultimately I don't expect to see him out there, but from my perspective I'd love to see Wilmot start. I think it will give him a lot of confidence as well. Left back for me, Holebas comes back in to the side ahead of Messina. Midfielders, Doucouré and Capoue for me. Right side of midfield, I go Ken Sema. And left side of midfield, Roberto Pereira. Up front, it's an interesting one. I think Troy, right now, I think he's on form. You can't drop him. And I'd probably go with... it's a very tough one. I think Javi will go with Delafeu up top, and I think we'll see Peñaranda potentially Andre Gray on the bench. Peñaranda could potentially make the difference as well off the bench. But that's my predicted starting 11. Let me guys know what you think in the comment section below. Let's now move on and have a little bit of a chat about Crystal Palace. Now, their last 5 games, 3 wins, a draw and a loss. The 3 wins, of course, we all remember the away win at the Etihad for them, a 3-2 win there. They picked up another away win, a 2-0 win at Wolves. I think goals were scored in like the last maybe 10 minutes, I think, in that game. And of course, they squeaked past Grimsby last weekend in the third round of the FA Cup. The only game they've actually lost was, of course, 1-0 at home to Chelsea in a game that I saw where I thought they were actually pretty poor. And they also picked up a pretty disappointing 0-0 draw at home to Cardiff as well. So I think if you kind of contrast that with our kind of form, we've drawn one more game, of course, picking up a draw in our last Premier League game against Bournemouth, and a draw against Newcastle. Palace haven't necessarily really hit the heights in regards to their home form. Really are struggling. Away from home, they're picking up the points, etc. But from our perspective, this is the kind of game where I look at and I think Palace look vulnerable, I think, defensively, and it's all about whether or not we can actually take any kind of advantage of that. There's only 2 bits of team news actually with Palace, really. The first one, Christian Benteke, and the second one is Pape Souaré. They're both going to be out of the game. Both, I think Pape Souaré is out with a long-term injury, having been taken off in the game against Grimsby, and Christian Benteke is back within the next couple of weeks from a knee problem, but he won't be fit for Saturday afternoon against the Golden Boys. Before, of course, we kind of go on and have a little bit more about a chat about the game, I think it's worth bearing in mind, of course, if you're not a Watford fan, this weekend really does hold quite a lot of significance for the Hornets, and it is 2 years on Saturday. It will be 2 years to the day that Watford's greatest ever manager, Graham Taylor, passed away. It's actually one of the years, of course, that we've actually got a game. And I think, I come on here, I do my previews, obviously, I want to win as many games as possible. But this one, I think, holds far more significance than any. I would go as far as to say far more significance than most of the games we've actually played this season. We need to get the win. I think it's as simple as that. I think I've said it before. 18 players are in that squad. 11 will start, 7 on the bench. For those 11 that start, need to be on it from the first whistle. The 7 off the bench need to be ready to come on, make an impact, and that's the same every single week. But this is a game I want to win. It's just as simple as that. And as I've said before, Palace have got weaknesses. Are we going to take advantage of that? I don't know. I mean, I look at someone like Troy. He took massive advantage of Bournemouth's backline. Can he have that same bullying impact again? Of course, as I'm sure you all may have seen the news earlier on today, he has been charged by the FA for some reason after that game against Bournemouth. He will be, I believe he'll actually play in the Palace game, but if he's going to be, we don't know if he's going to be suspended, if he'll just face a fine, lots of different conflicting things kind of coming out about that. Ultimately, he will be a blow to us if he is out for a certain amount of time, and he's in some very good form at the moment. He's definitely a danger man that Palace ought to be really aware of. Other players as well, of course, you look at the likes of Pereira, I think he needs to pick up his form a little bit. De La Feu as well up top, just played well, but just lacks some of that clinical edge. And it's that clinical edge that we really need, because ultimately, look, I look at Palace, we talk about their home form, it's not been great, but man, you know what, they've picked up 2 great away wins. Man City on the road, I mean, what a performance that was from them. We've got players that can really worry the opposition. I look at Andros Townsend, of course, there's Wilfred Zaha, who of course we all know about, but you look at their side, they're a very well-drilled side. They've got pacey players. Townsend, Zaha, Jordan Ayew is in there as well. I'm going to curse this now massively. Jordan Ayew has scored the most. He has scored more Premier League goals against Watford than he has against any other side. He's netted 3 in his last 4 against the Golden Boys, and well, that's everything you need to know. He's a massive threat. I think I'll just finally touch on this. I think the game at Vicarage Road earlier on in the season was a game where we were on a great run, still unbeaten. Goals by Pereira, of course the cross/shot from Holebas, and we looked relatively comfortable in a game that was just plagued by horrible weather, really. But Palace showed how threatening they were, and they pulled one back. It could have been more for them. Frankly, it could have been more for us as well. But ultimately, when it comes to Saturday afternoon, everything goes out the window. It's about that game, getting the 3 points in honour of our greatest ever manager, Graham Taylor, and that is literally what it's all about. I will come on here every week and say I want us to win the game. This week, it just means more for the obvious reasons. I'm going to leave that preview there. Thank you very much for watching. I will be at the game on Saturday, as will Jacob and the lads. We will be doing fan cams outside Selhurst Park, so come along and join us after the game. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Come on, you Orns.